Hello YouTube, Dave here again. I hope you guys have been enjoying my Starfinder themed week for this week in October of 2018. So far over the last few days we've looked at a couple of different products and sort of just talked about my first time running a Starfinder gaming session. So it was a lot of fun and I really love this game, and I want to see it succeed. I want to see it become more and more popular. And I wanted to sort of become a staple of the channel, something that I talk about a little bit more regularly than I have been. So this week was sort of a start to that. Today's video is also the start of another project that I've been wanting to do for quite a while actually, and that is to build up a up-to-date complete listing of my entirety of my RPG collection. I started one years ago that is woefully out of date by now, and I figured I may as well start from scratch. And in addition to having just the list of products from like my Facebook page or saved on my computer, I also want to have a video record of everything that I have. So I'm starting this, this is October of 2018. We're about midway through the month at this point, so even though this video is going up at the end of the week, I'm actually recording it at the beginning of the week because I have everything planned out, and hopefully everything went alright. And there were actually 5 videos put out over the course of this week. So without further ado, let's jump right into my collection. It's not complete. There are a few things that I am missing, unfortunately. But it's a pretty decent chunk of the Starfinder products that have been released so far from Paizo. So obviously you got to start off with the Starfinder core rulebook. I mean, it's pretty much a given that this is the first thing that you should have in your collection if you are interested in the Starfinder role-playing game. And I think it's definitely something that is worth checking out. It's an awesome system. A lot of fun from, you know, it's limited experience, but it was a great time. And yeah, I can't say enough good things about this system. I really can't. I genuinely, love it that much. So this is the core rulebook, 500 plus pages. It's got a bit of a hefty price on it at $59.99 US. But you're getting a lot for that $59.99 US. You are getting almost a complete RPG system in a single book. You're getting some information on the campaign setting, extensive rules on creating characters, your player's handbook, and your dungeon master's guide, or game master's guide, I guess I should say. Get in the habit of that. Is all included in this one book. So really, honestly, it is cheaper overall than buying, the 2 separate books. So this is the first thing that I had in my collection. And we're going to go through the hardcover books that I have first, because at this point in time, there's only a few of them. And I do have them all. Up next is Alien Archive. So at the time I'm recording this, Alien Archive 2 has not released yet. And I was talking with Paizo, and I believe they're sending me a copy of Alien Archive 2 to do a review for, but it'll probably be another 2 or 3 weeks before it arrives, which is totally fine. But the first one is awesome. This is basically sort of your monster manual, and it's just got a lot of cool things in here, and it also has some of the monsters in here have stats for you to play them as player characters, including the Skittermanders, which are one of my favorite things ever. They're just awesome. All right, up next we have the core rule book, we had our monster book, so now we have our campaign setting. So this is the Packed Worlds book, and this has a lot of great information on each of the planets and important locations in the Packed Worlds system. If you're a game master, then this is what I would consider to be a pretty essential pickup, because it just lets you flesh out the world a lot better, or the setting a lot better. Just a lot of really cool information here. There is stuff, again, for player characters in here. I think there's a theme that's directly connected to each of the locations, and there's some player character races, some items, feats. There's all kinds of cool stuff in here. So Packed Worlds, again, if you're going to be running the game, I consider it to be pretty much a must-have, along with Alien Archive and the core rulebook. And then the most recent book to be released at the time I'm recording this is Armory, and this is a crud ton of brand new equipment for player characters, for monsters, for just about anything. Really great stuff in here, and like I said, sort of in my flip through and review of it, I wasn't actually expecting there to be player character class options. I really wasn't expecting that, but it is an awesome thing to have in here. So again, another pretty almost no-brainer pickup here, and that is Armory. So those are the hardcover books that have been released to date. So up next we have some pawns. So I'm a big fan of like the Pathfinder and Starfinder pawn collections. So this is the core rulebook pawn collection. This only came with the sheets of like the tokens that you can use. It did not come with the bases, so you could either take bases from your Pathfinder pawns if you have them, or they did actually sell packages of the bases as well. And I really do want to get a package of those to have just in my collection. I probably won't open them, but I do want to have them just to have, because they do come in really nice packaging. But you can also take some bases out of this thing here, which is the Starfinder Alien Archive pawn box, and this thing is pretty massive. It has like over 300 tokens included that you can use, and of course has the same really nice cover art that you had on the Alien Archive book itself. And you got your Skittermanders. I would have liked to have had like the different colored Skittermanders for the pawns themselves, but at least they have different colored emblems on each of them, so you can distinguish them if you need to. But again, really, really awesome, and I'm a sucker for anything that comes in a box anyway when it comes to RPG stuff. And I mean, the box here is just absolutely beautiful. Just a lot of really great artwork on here, and just tons of great stuff in here. So the pawn collections are a great way to get some things for if you use miniatures. Just to have, and they're a cheaper alternative than going out and buying a lot of like the random minis. Right now I don't think there is an official Starfinder miniatures line, but I'm sure it's something that we will be getting at some point, but these are really great. There's also a pawn collection out for the Pact Worlds book. I don't have that one as of yet. Just my finances never really lined up with them being in stock in my area. But it is something, again, that I'm hoping to get in the not too distant future. Alright, so moving on, we've got some accessories here. The first one is for player characters, and this is the player character folio. And I've shown all of these things off in separate videos, but just to sort of recap, this is basically a really expanded character sheet. There's just tons of information for your character, as well as information on some of the combat rules, including like zero gravity, combat maneuvers, basic actions, common conditions. You have some stuff on different skills, all kinds of just great information in here. Really, really worthwhile purchase. Even if you don't plan on actually writing stuff in the sheets, you can always scan them, photocopy them, print them off, and you got a lot of really detailed information. So, and it's cheap. It's only $9.99 US, and there's a lot of great stuff in here for that $9.99. All right, up next we got some stuff for Game Masters. So we have, of course, the Game Master screen. And so this is, what I like about this one actually is that it's one of the tall screens. So it's got the shape of like some of your more traditional Game Master screens. So a lot of the ones that you have out now, just sort of like they're only about as tall as this here. They would sort of go this way and they go out. So they tend to be wider, but they're not as tall. Now, not as tall can be great if you have a shorter table and you need to kind of see what people are doing for miniatures and positioning. But as a game master, I tend to stand up anyway, so I don't really need that easy view over top of the screen because I'm standing up anyway. So this is a nice tall screen, and I do like that. Up next is probably one of my favorite accessories of all time for any role-playing game, and this is the Starfinder Combat Pad. It's basically a magnetic pad. You can use dry erase, wet erase, even permanent markers, and there's ways to deal with that. but it comes with like magnetic things you can use for your player characters. You put them in the proper initiative order. You have a thing that you can slide down for whose turn it is, which I need something like this because I'm constantly forgetting people in the order. You got your round tracker. You can make notes for like hit points, any sort of conditional things that are temporary things. Somebody casts a spell and it has a duration. You can mark when that duration ends, and just keep moving the round slider down. So this is something that you can really use for any role-playing game. It doesn't have to be Starfinder, even though that's the branding that you have here. This is just, again, just a really, really amazing accessory. And for $24.99 US, I think it's totally worth it. Alright, up next we have a slew of the double-sided flip mats. So we'll try to go through these in pretty quick succession. I've done videos for each and every one of these at the point that I'm recording this, so if you want to see them in more detail, then you can absolutely do that. I think these are almost in the order that I bought them in, but the first two may be a little bit mixed up. The first three actually may be a little bit mixed up, but I'm going to try to... There, I think that's the right order. So the first one here that I have is the Cantina, and I was able to preserve the shrink wrapping just to make it a little bit easier to keep on the shelf. But you have your double-sided map there, and with a lot of these ones, they tend to have the same theme of one side being a more well-to-do or upper society type of place, and then you've got sort of your dirty, dingier, scarier places. So you got Cantina, then you have Urban Sprawl, the Space Station, which really the Space Station you could use for just urban areas as well. I would almost say that they're kind of interchangeable with the Urban Sprawl one, but really, really cool, really cool map. One of the things that I always thought was missing was sort of a docking area for a ship to have encounters at, but that situation was rectified with the Sunrise Maiden flip map, and this one is one of the oversized ones, so it's got like an extra piece here that flips up, and so one side has the ship itself, but then you have your area at like a docking bay. So if you wanted to have an encounter right as soon as the characters came out of the ship and in the dock, then you can do that. So this works in conjunction with like your Space Station one. So this is really, really cool. All right, up next we have the Ghost Ship. And just double-sided, one side is a derelict research ship, which you better believe I plan on integrating into a Starfinder campaign that I run, because why wouldn't you? It's just, that's just screaming for an adventure to take place in there, sort of a horror-themed one. I actually kind of wanted to make an adventure based kind of off of the Alien storyline. And this is definitely, if I do it, this is the ship that I'm going to have it on. And then you got your cargo ship that you can use as well. And this could even double for if the player characters had a ship. That could even really sort of double for that as well. So really useful map all around. And some of the great things about these more specific maps is that you can actually kind of use them to spark your imagination and come up with some ideas, in locations that you wanted to have encounters or build adventures around the maps that you have. And I think that those are really, really great for that. And then up next, the last one that I picked up at the time that I'm recording this, which is funny because it's one of the first ones to be released. This is your basic Starfield, so space combat is a significant part of the Starfinder role-playing game. So this is your grid that you would want to use for that, or your map I should say, because it is a hex map instead of being like the traditional squares. So really, really cool one to have. And this is another one of the oversized ones like the Sunrise Maiden. So it has the extra flap there. Alright, and the last few things that I have here are adventures for the Starfinder role-playing game. This is probably the biggest gaps that I have in my collection so far, but it's something that I do want to eventually correct as far as that issue goes. So the first one I ever picked up was the Dead Sun's Adventure Path Temple of the 12. This is book number 2. If I get it to focus, maybe... No? Oh, had it for a second. There we go. So this is book number 2. The Dead Sun's Adventure Path was 6 books in total. And so this is one I actually haven't done a video on yet. I do want to get the first part, as well as obviously, parts 3, 4, and 5. I actually held off on getting parts 3, 4, and 5 because I've had a great deal of difficulty trying to find part 1 in my area. So I actually ordered it from one of my local game stores, and the distributor put it on back order, and that was back in like May, June, and I mean, we're in October now, and it still never came in. So the good news is that Paizo is hopefully sending. They said they were going to send book 1 of that series to me to do a video on, and so hopefully I'll have that in the next few weeks. Because I do want to get the entire path. So I heard there was a little bit of issues with the first one, at least especially with the first few books to be released in that storyline. But anyway, I'm still looking forward to getting them and reading them. Up next is the adventure that I'm going to be running at HalCon, which at the time that I'm recording this is still a couple weeks away, or yeah, like 11 days away at this point, I think now. But this is Starfinder Skittershot. So this was the free RPG Day adventure for 2018, and I want to get, with the free RPG Days, if I have to choose, a single object, which I did this time around, then the free RPG Day adventure for Starfinder is what I'm going to choose every single time, because this adventure is just a ton of fun. I love it. I can't wait to run it. And again, you got Skittermanders, and they're just awesome. All right, and up last is again another product that was sent to me by Paizo for the purposes of doing a review. This is The Reach of Empire. This is the first book in the Against the Aeon Throne storyline. So this campaign arc is only 3 parts in length. Yeah, if we can get it to focus there. There's a lot of, there we go. There's a lot of like glossy and shiny stuff to throw the camera's focus off. But this is another really cool adventure. I like the idea behind this storyline a lot, and I really like this first adventure. I think there's some cool stuff in there. In the impromptu improv game that I ran during character creation just a few days ago, at the time I'm releasing this, I actually did try to set up for this particular adventure because I want to run it. I think it's just really, really cool. So yeah, so there we go. So that is my Starfinder collection as of the middle of August 2018. And again, I just want to thank you guys for your support, and again, I want to see, Starfinder do well, because it's an awesome game. I absolutely love it, and I want to do my part to promote it and try to raise awareness of it. And as well, this is the first step towards chronicling or archiving my entire RPG collection. So this is everything that I have to date for the Starfinder role-playing game. So thank you guys very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Take care.